the board revert to the list of 7 names that were under consideration on Saturday, minus Tom Cochran and Annie Wilkes. If I had a second, I'd like to just explain why I'm moving in this direction.
There's a motion on the floor. But if you'd like to...
Well, I'd speak to it then, I guess, the other motion. I would appreciate a sec now. The municipality of Anchorage needs an opportunity to select a school board replacement from a list of more than one candidate. Because Tom Corcoran withdrew his name from consideration, we are left with a candidate who only received 2 votes from the school board in the final vote on Saturday. I would like an opportunity to vote for Trey Taylor or John Wanamaker to see if under the new circumstances that either of them might garner enough votes to go into a final selection. This board is being intimidated by the likes of Shannon Moore, a left-wing blogger, Linda Beagle, another left-wing blogger, and the Anchorage Daily News, who clearly have some kind of an agenda in this school board appointment. We are allowing, I believe, a small minority of Anchorage voters to stampede the school board into voting for this wrong candidate. We are allowing a person to win this appointment by default. The Anchorage School Board tied in its selection process by a 3-3 vote. After discussing the matter, one candidate received 4 votes on Saturday, and the other, Mr. Cameron, only received 2 votes. I believe that the selection process is flawed. We are being forced to accept a candidate that clearly did not have majority support. In fairness, I believe we need to back up and revert to the list of 7 names of those who made it to the next to final list of candidates for consideration. Further, we need to remove Tom Corcoran's name from that list and the name of Ann Wilkes, who officially withdrew her name by letter to us, and ballot on the remaining 5 candidates. The public deserves an opportunity to have a choice. I have nothing against Cameron other than I believe he is a special issue focused candidate. In my opinion, he should stand for election next year and see if Anchorage voters want him to look after the interests of 49,000 students. Under the present process, we are railroading an individual into a seat on the Anchorage School Board.
Well, Mr. Smith, the person who is on the agenda tonight that we will be voting on maybe did not receive a vote from you on Saturday, but he did receive the vote of the majority of this board, enough votes to make it to the final round of the process. There were only two people that made it to that final round. And just for the record, I would like to note that the vacancy appointment process that we followed over the last month, in my opinion, was very thorough. We had many candidates applying. All of those applicants' names were published. All of their info was available and continues to be available on the website. That includes their applications, it includes their resumes, it includes the answers to the written questions that were asked of them. No process is perfect, and when you're in an elected position, you do the best that you can with the information that you have available. And that's what I did. I looked at 2 candidates who were both very qualified individuals. They had different qualifications and they were both very strong in their own way. And I made a choice on Saturday, which I believed was the best choice at the time. In no way did I ever intend to draw any negative attention to the district, and for that I apologize that has occurred. What I'm happy about is that we do have an opportunity to vote this evening on Mr. Perez Verdia. I'm pleased that we have the opportunity to formalize his appointment to fill this board vacancy. As I said before, there were 2 candidates that made it to the 3rd and 4th round of voting on Saturday. We spent a considerable amount of time addressing they spent a considerable amount of time addressing the board and answering additional questions, some of those questions even formed by some of the other applicants. The successful applicant on Saturday, after 2 tied votes, has withdrawn his name, as we know, and so that puts us in the situation that we are in at this time. And so if anyone else has comments, I'd invite you to make them now, and then we will take a vote. Tam?
Dawn, I have not received any information myself about withdrawal of Van Lucas, so I don't know where that information came from. You could address it. You said that she withdrew her candidacy?
No, the fact that we had our choice withdraw from consideration, and the candidate that was running against him got 2 votes, and Mr. Cochran got 4. I feel like we should.
Ann Wilkes wrote an email to the board that stated that she would withdraw her name in support of Cameron.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't receive that.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. And then secondly, Jeannie, would you please reiterate what was the process when the applications were first received and they go to the municipal clerk for vetting? Could you explain that process?
That is a simple process where the municipality confirms that they are an eligible candidate for the vacancy.
Okay. And then we did receive numerous emails in support and in non-support for various candidates since the time the names were published until Saturday's proceedings. And with the exception of the email that you referred to, I believe we are all in receipt of all of those emails, whether they were sent to the board as a whole or sent to the school board secretary who passed them on. So I want to make sure that's very clear.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification, that there is always a way for public input to the process, and we are open to that input.
And then the last thing I want to address is, I believe we're bound by the policy and the procedures that are in the policy now, yet it is vague, and maybe this is where legal counsel needs to speak on what happens in a situation where there's a tie. Because in the policy, as we went through a special meeting to understand all the variations on the theme and what could happen and what all the possibilities were, this was not one of them. And so I do believe our legal counsel is here.
She is here, but yes, we did find that there are some vague areas in the policy as written, and that will need to be addressed. But there, and I don't want to respond to all the, every item of criticism, but there was insinuation that the board had rushed this process through. And it's in policy that when a seat becomes vacant, you have 30 days within which to appoint somebody to the vacancy. And this wasn't a situation where we were trying to rush anything. We were simply following the policy. And we did not have any control over when the former member chose to vacate the seat. So, having said that,
And possibly, as I announced in our early meeting, when we, policy committee meets on April 16th with the municipal clerk to look at some of the procedures that the municipality does when they have a vacancy and some that we do to see if there's a way that we can make consistency. There's potential also, if there is interest, to address how could you change policy to allow a vetting procedure when you get towards the final candidates. Because at this point, we did the vote and then we had the candidates. There was no time to do some substantial vetting on any of the final 7 and then the final 2. We were here on the spot doing that work. So maybe that's something to be addressed in policy. And those on policy committee, I will definitely entertain that information when we work on the board designation language on our April 16th meeting.
okay.
Thank you, President Becky. Can I have a few moments?
Yes.
Okay. I truly regret that this appointment process has been rocky. If I could rewind the clock the last few days and do a few things differently to avoid this fallout, yes, I think I would try to do some of that. Please know that my motivations were pure and honest, and I just want what's best for the school district and community. By the way, the APOC campaign contributions are public record, and for the first time last year, they were filed electronically, so they're very easy to pull up and retrieve. The list of appointment candidates was also published for over a week before the vote. The public had an opportunity to independently vet and comment during that time. The good news is there were 2 excellent finalist candidates on the school board. Cameron Perez Verdilla will be a wonderful addition to this board, and I am truly looking forward to serving with him. The other comment I would like to make is that I invite all of you in this room, and who's listening and who's watching, to attend an audit and budget committee meeting. We meet every 2 weeks before the board at 12 o'clock, right next door. It is here where we will all learn and experience the fear and stress as we learn about the fiscal realities of our district's situation. Yesterday was Easter. Rather than making productive use of their time, like skiing in the sun or eating with their families, several members of this community conducted a smear campaign in a media kangaroo court, thereby resulting in a good person declining the opportunity from serving on the school board. This is a tremendous loss to this board and this community. My biggest fear is that during this period of declining revenues, the needs of the special interest groups will be placed above the needs of the core functions of this district. I have my own pet programs. My children are involved in Ignite, but I understand that what's best for the district was to restructure Ignite this past spring, because that is what's best as the district as a whole. And that is what my job is here on the school board, is to put my own personal biases aside and do what is best for all district. I ask you all, put your party affiliations aside, put your biases aside, and cooperate to preserve the core function of this district, which is educating all kids, and to moving forward our strategic initiative. Thank you.
Anything further from board members? Okay, please proceed to vote. The motion on the table is to move to approve Cameron Perez Verdilla to fill seat D. Is it not working? And that motion passes 4 yeas and 1 nay. So congratulations, Mr. Perez Verdilla. And I think that if our judge is ready, there she is, we will be ready to conduct the oath of office. Cameron,
Yes,
are you going to join us?